Good morning. This morning, I'd like to talk about something that's happening in the media. So I saw an interview with Jenny Willoughby, and she was talking about her ex-husband's abusive relationship with her. And she shifts the conversation in a very subtle way, which I think is so important. She talks about him. She says he's deeply troubled and that he's not a monster, that he can come across as chivalrous and capable. But when he's under pressure, that's when the violence comes out. She also, so in doing so, she, I think, is very believable, very, just you can see the genuine hurt and the struggle on her face. She's not vengeful or shrill or leading a smear campaign against him. That's my opinion. Okay, well, this, I think this is important because for me, it shifted the conversation in that she was talking about a mental health problem. She wasn't throwing names at person that she felt, she had an axe to grind. Then, in a later interview, Jake Tapper is interviewing Kellyann Conway, who appears to be very sympathetic. And she says, I feel so sorry for any suffering this woman might have endured. That sounds good, doesn't it? And then so Jake Tapper says, are you afraid for Hope Hicks, Brad Porter's current girlfriend? And backtrack to Jenny Willoughby said, yes, I am afraid for Hope Hicks because if he hasn't abused her yet, he will. Okay, so I forgot to put that in. So Jake Tapper says, are you afraid for Hope Hicks? Kellyann Conway pivots very smoothly and says, in the case of Hope Hicks, I'm not. And then she says, Hope is very smart and capable. Hope has excellent instincts and loyalty. So she says, I'm not afraid for Hope Hicks. And then she goes on to say, anyone who's been abused should speak out. So she appears to be on the side of abused women. Well, let me just take a minute and tell you that the abused women that I see in my practice are very smart. Smart has nothing to do with whether or not you're abused. Also, their instincts are pretty sharp. They're trying to get by. They're trying to make it work. They are usually taking care of everybody else. Many times they're in the good daughter role. They know about people pleasing and expect themselves to smooth over things. The very attributes that culturally get reinforced get them into trouble. But I just love, and I say that very sarcastically, the Kellyann Conway throws in loyalty. Huh? How will loyalty immunize Hope Hicks from suffering abuse? The thing is, most of the women that I see who they know they're going to be delegitimized by sometimes their mothers, by other women in the culture. What did you do? It's your fault. They know how the culture looks at them, that if you flip it and say, okay, so only dependent, stupid women who aren't loyal get abused. If being smart, capable, and loyal are to immunize you from, an abuser who has allegedly assaulted 3 women. 3 women have come out. So how these capabilities would immunize somebody else, I don't know. I don't think it's true. But the more destructive thing is it sends the message to women that if they're all these things, they're not going to be abused, that it's their behavior that brings on the abuse. the very thing that Rob Porter's wife, I think, very adroitly addresses and says, addresses his behavior, and also doesn't paint it with a broad brush. She says, you're quite chivalrous. So these women aren't stupid. It's not like a man comes around and slaps them and drags them by their hair into the den and they go, oh, you're for me. Let me stay with you. Let me pay any cost to stay with you. I mean, I think that's what the media would have us believe. No, these women get drawn in, and sometimes you don't know until it's way too late that you're in a bad place. So, the final blow is, she says, Hope Hicks has carried on her duties. She has been just carried on her job smoothly, and of course, her employer speaks well of her. Well, of course he does. What do you think I am, stupid? Anyway, this is not a political post, but I think it's so important to look at the very subtle ways that women can throw other women under the bus. It's not smarts. It's not instincts. As a matter of fact, if you grew up with abuse, it's your instinct to think it's your fault. And it's not competence that's going to immunize you from abuse. So, sisters, women, and mothers, we have got to start standing up for each other. Due process and all that is so important, but when a woman comes to you and with tears in her eyes and a heavy heart, and she talks about how this man that she is in love with also has this underbelly of cruelty and violence, you need to listen and not imply on any level that smarts and competence and loyalty will get her out of the bad situation. It's Catherine Fabrizio with the Good Daughter Sessions. We're women, we can do better. Thanks and bye.